And this is a hand-drawn stencil. Nice big motorcycle. And this one was inspired. I want you to also take your inspiration from something in Florence, since you're in Florence. The first one has to be something detailed that you've seen here in Florence. I don't want you to get imagery off the internet. I want you to do your own imagery. This one is from Leonardo da Vinci. His work is all over, especially that year. There was a Da Vinci year a couple of years ago. So you saw Da Vinci shows everywhere. This last year was Raphael. And this is a graphic design one. And she's a graphic design major. I also interview all of you when you first come in the first day, find out what classes you're studying, what's your major interest in art. If you're a graphic designer, I might direct your imagery towards your graphic design. If you're a photographer, more on photography. If you're a textile person, more with textile. So I'm going to try to adapt the class a little bit towards each and every one of you so that we can get as much as you can out of this class. There's just so much to learn. One semester really isn't enough. But you'll get hooked on it and you'll want to do more. Believe me, you will. Let me show a few more. Oh, here's, before I go to that side, let me go to this side of the table. Here's a nice textile. This one on Via di Pepi, or I think it's Via di Pepi. Anyway, in Florence, there's a beautiful hotel called the Mona Lisa Hotel, and the front part is open, and you can walk in, and you see this ceiling with this beautiful imagery on it, and she took inspiration from that ceiling. And this is only a sample, like a scarf sample, but she actually made a number of these different squares that were in the ceiling, because it's kind of a box ceiling. And then there's wooden beams that go in between. She also made a screen with the wooden beams, and she made a large bed quilt, a beautiful large bed quilt with these designs. This is just a small sample of what she did, like a test piece. I didn't say anything yet about the colors. The colors we're using are water-based, thank goodness. They're pigment colors, water-based colors. And as you can see from the examples that I'm going to show you, and I have shown you, they're really nice colors. And you can wash up with water. You don't have to worry about solvents. And they're made for textiles. You just had to add a couple of drops of fixative, and they're fine on textiles. They're beautiful on etching paper, and we will have etching paper for you to use to print on. And there are some other papers that you can use, like rice paper and some other fancy papers, but you would get those yourself. We will give you some etching paper. The pigment colors, I would have the primary colors and the secondary colors, and it's in a little bottle with the concentrate, like drops, and we have a bucket of paste, and you put the paste in a little bowl, and you put a drop of pink, if you want pink, in, and you stir it up, and you look and on some scrap etching paper, we test the colors until we arrive at the color we want. So you have to learn about color mixing. That'll be a big part of our project, is to teach you how to make colors. If you don't already know about primary, secondary colors and how to make them, and complementary colors, this will be part of your learning. We will be doing this with these colors. But I just wanted to point out, for safety reasons, that we have safe colors. They're water-based colors. And you can just wash up with soap and water. But you do need to wear aprons. I believe we will also provide you with a plain apron that you can decorate yourself and put your own designs on it. A muslin apron that you can decorate, and a tote bag, I believe, as well. So this one here shows you, by changing color, you have the same screens, and just by changing colors, how different the same print can look, just by changing colors. So you can have several editions. You can have an edition in this set of colors. You can have an edition in that set of colors. And this one was a set of photographs, actually. And the same person made this one. She was here the whole year, and quite a photographer. And this is not the same sofa, but different photographs of it. And this is still the same artist. I have to pull this one out. Another set of photographs. And this is, the technique here is posterizing. So you take a light, medium, and dark of your photograph. This is posterizing as well, but the colored in parts of the sofa were done with a hand-drawn stencil. So it's a combination. And also now with the computer, we can easily do the 4-color separation. At this time when we made this, we didn't have that ability yet, but now we can also do the 4-color separation. So there's a lot we can do with photography as well. A lot. The same artist. This one here was used for a textile. She made, I think she made a bed cover or something with it. Get it out. And it's about her apartment. Oh, there it is. Yeah. So this is a paper print of it, but she actually printed it, rows and rows of it, on a coverlet for her bed. And it's about her apartment where she was living in Florence. And it's posterization again with her information about her home, sort of like a little poem, and then some hand-colored in areas with the hand-colored stencils. So she made a large coverlet with that. So that's photo major. And textile majors can do beautiful things with textiles. This was meant for a fabric. So what we designed a unit, and then we designed how it was going to join and fit together. For the textile people, I will also give you some extra lessons on how to make repeats and how to make a unit that's going to fit inside of another unit and make a whole continuous up here in fabric. Now in the factory, they'll have machines that are big enough to cover the whole sheet. Well, we can't do that. We have to make do with this size screen, which is fairly big to handle, believe me. You have to learn how to pull the squeegee, too. And so we have to plan our design for our textiles so that it fits together and locks together side to side, top to bottom, so that when we print the whole fabric, it's all joined together and you can't really tell where it begins and ends. So this is an example of somebody working out their textile design on the paper first, but she printed a beautiful piece of fabric on fabric as well. This is very Florence. And it's the pigeons, which you see everywhere in Florence. So she made a pigeon repeat textile. And it also fits together like here. This part fits down in here, and the sides fit together. And she made a huge piece of fabric with pigeons all over it. And she colored in their eyes and some of their heads. And it came out to be a really delightful, delightful print. Everybody loved it. Actually, figs are a very important fruit here in Florence as well. And this one has a lot of ink and pen and ink work in it. It's cross-hatching and stippling. And so if you're good at pen and ink, this is a nice example of working with pen and ink. Also, this student was an etching student, so it has a sort of etching kind of quality to it as well. The student that did these photographs of the Duomo of Florence was an advanced student, and she was here for a whole full year in Florence. She did 2 semesters. The first semester, she just did all the regular screen printing process. The second semester, she wanted to focus on her photography major, like the other girl. And she had this photograph, and now she was able to do digitally on her computer, and she took this photograph of the back side of the cathedral, and we blew them up really. It took her the whole semester just to do these. It was a lot of work. And this is posterizing with the 3 tones. But all of these different pieces joined together. Oh, here we go. See how that joins together? So we printed all of the separate editions. She did about 10 of them, I think. They look lovely as individual prints, but they also, if you wanted to hang them on a wall, your eye would automatically put the whole image together and you see the whole side of the Duomo really large. But she also printed it joined up together on a piece of linen, a large linen panel. It was really a nice project, a lot of work. And to get the photograph blown up this big, we had to go to one of the printers like Lori. There's a couple of good printing shops here in Florence where you can take your your images to be blown up this big because we can't do it by ourselves this big. So all of these would join together. Oh, this one I think you can see how this one joins. When you're here in my studio, I'll line them all up on a huge table and you can see how they join up. But here you can sort of see. And this also is part of the top part. So I think there was 3 rows with 4 images each, something like that. And it made a huge panel that covered a whole wall. It was a lot of work, but it was worth it. But that would be an example of an advanced student doing a whole semester project.